This is usually the part where I say what's up, yada yada yada, but there's not really much I can say positively now, is there? With what has literally broke while I've been sitting here, hence the delay starting the stream. I'm waiting, like you are, for the Paul Joyces, for the David Ornsteins, or for anybody else, but right now the reports say that Martín Zubimendi has decided to stay at Real Sociedad. Now, of course, as this is breaking, we're working through it. We're trying to figure out what on earth is going on. We're trying to figure out how we ended up here. And we're also trying to figure out to make sure that this is correct, right? But taking it at face value, well, let me just read something out to you guys that came from the Spanish side, reported by LFC Transfer Room. Martín Zubimendi will stay at Real Sociedad despite the efforts from Liverpool to bring him over, and despite him already giving them the initial yes. So, as I mentioned all the way through, he told Liverpool yes. Those indications were what everybody was believing. Then it's come out over the last few minutes that he breaks his word and does a 180. That's the line at the minute. So right now, everybody is shocked. None of the information anybody was given is how this tallies up. Your guess is as good as mine. Difficult trying to process these things in real time as you're live on a stream, but honest to God, lads, what else can I say at this point other than these owners are tin pot? Let me just get a couple of things up on screen, sorry, and then I'll get stuck into it all. Right now, whatever you're feeling, trust me, I'm feeling every bit as angry, every bit as disappointed, and every bit as frustrated with how we're in this position right now as a club, yet again, a laughingstock. Sorry, I'm just setting up the back end system here. All I want to do right now is punch a hole in this screen, to be honest with you. Right, so first one, why can we not sign anyone at Liverpool, said Suleiman Khan. Mate, this is breaking literally as I'm live, so I'm playing catch up like everybody else. I was sitting here about to start to go live, and then Connor just sent me an OFFS, and I looked at it and I just thought, where did this come from? So look, I'm going to start to work through some of your comments, of course. I don't know what to say other than, oh, feck, said Jack. And mate, I don't know what to say either. It is absolutely embarrassing for our football club right now. This is tin pot. I don't know what else to say. I'm shocked right now. I'm going to go through these real quick and then I'll give you my thoughts. Sorry to interrupt. Would love to be a mod someday, said Marcus. Bear with me, Marcus. I'll sort that for you in a second, bro. And Harry Klein said, FSG embarrasses us 3 times. Don't let the hate get to you. So, look, I don't really care about what anyone says towards me in this situation, mate, because everything that I've said has been backed up by multiple journalists. He gave the yes. He gave the indication he wanted the move. You've seen it even reported by those who are saying that he's now changed his mind. So that's why I'm so shocked, because nobody had been given any indication that he was changing his mind. And of course, we're still waiting for all the big confirmations on this, and as and when they come in, of course, I'm going to be here to take you through them. Rabadan said, damn, let's get Gordon, Varela and Hincapié then. Suleiman Khan said, at this point, Ederson will reject us. Look, at this point, mate, these owners have turned us into an absolute laughingstock, and I don't really care what anybody else has to say about them. Right now, we have had Caicedo 2.0, and there's no excuse for it. You know, I had my faith, like everybody else, in Edwards and Hughes, and we didn't think we'd see a repeat of Caicedo and Lavia, and yeah, here we are. Now, remember everyone who was calm and said, hey, August, everything will get done in August. How are you feeling right now? So to everyone that laughed at the rest of us for being frustrated, angered and annoyed by this, well, now we are sitting here with our todger in our hands, 5 to 9, 12th of August, with no signing and back to the drawing board. Tin pot. Disgraceful. Unacceptable. But of course, there will still be some people that say, we don't need signings. It's absolutely disgusting. People should be sacked over this. I don't care if Edwards and Hughes are only in the door. They have just turned us into a laughingstock again. I'm so angry. I'm so feckin' angry right now. Just fly through these before I forget, and then I'm going to go into the chat. Brian, thank you, mate. I'm trying my best, mate. And I had some good news to bring up tonight about our show as well. Again, that's what I was preparing before we went live. Nessie said, Craig, a genuine question. How is FSG to blame? Oh, here. How are they to blame? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the fact that they own the damn football club. So, let me put it this way. In my business, if anyone below me fails at their job, guess who it falls back on? Me. Because I'm the spearhead. I'm the top of the pile. Me and Connor are the ones that make the decisions. So, how have FSG fucked up? Well, by not getting the signing. That's how. Whether it's Hughes or Edwards or whatever. Ultimately, the buck stops with the owner. So, the answer to the question is, it's their fault because they own the damn club. And they're the ones with the strategy. They're the ones letting it go this late. And like I've tried to tell everybody for the last 3 goddamn years, they don't give a shit about Liverpool Football Club. So that's how I believe it's the owner's fault. But either way, whomever you want to blame, Hughes, Edwards, it still makes us look like a laughingstock. It still means we've got no goddamn signings and there's only 3 weeks left in the window. Not even 3 weeks left in the window. Nathan Allen said, why do we go for players? Said to no to other clubs. We don't want to move. Caicedo we bid for, and now this. Don't want to move. It's just a waste of time. Geordie LFC said, I normally agree with most of what you say, bro, but this has got nothing to do with the owners. It's loyalty on Zubimendi's behalf. Okay, I really, like, to me, honestly, mate, at this moment, I don't mind who people want to point the finger of blame at. But one thing I think, and I hope, Geordie, that we can all agree on is it's embarrassing, yet again, for the football club. Caicedo, Lavia, and now Zubimendi. 3 players, 3 rejections under the ownership. Different sets of sporting directors, different people negotiating it, but ultimately, it's down to the owners. Look, but that's my view on it, and I respect everybody else's view on it. But I hope that we all say here is, it's an embarrassment, and it isn't good enough. Whomever you want to feel responsible for it, I get it. I'm not going to try to correct you. All I can talk about is how I feel. G. Williams should have paid the money that Sociedad asked, rather than spending over a week, giving the impression that we weren't fussed, so now he's staying. Again, the indication was from him to Liverpool that he wanted the move. And then it was just a matter of, well, how do they figure out the finances with Sociedad? And remember, this is an evolving story right now, so I'm kind of playing catch up as well. But it is an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment, mate. Aaron, 4, said, try not to just jump to conclusions, but I've seen this move before. Last few windows, I'm fed up of FSG. Off you go. Always a red. Didn't put in a super chat comment, mate, but thank you for your support. Irish Drago said, we just won't pay the wages needed and probably tried an installment plan for less than was released. If we copped up the money, he would be here. LFC Ryan said, FSG run the club. They appointed directors. They decide the transfer policy. Everything that happens at the club runs through them. FSG out. That's kind of my view on it as well, mate. You know, everybody has jobs to do, but those people are put in their roles by the owners of the club. And if they paid a bit more attention to the club, I don't think we'd be in these scenarios right now. Have any of the bigger journalists come out yet? No. Not that I've seen. Not that I've seen at the minute. The only reports on this are coming from the Sociedad side. Now, if and when we get those confirmations, like you've said, of course we're going to bring them to you, and we're all waiting, refreshing and looking. Whitehammer said, I'm sick of the constant build-up and then rejected. I know, mate. I want to put my fist through this screen right now. Not because of any of you, of course, but because of the embarrassment of this situation yet again. Fritz Frank said, a fish rots from the head down. Again, I think an indication that Fritz Frank feels that it's down to these owners who ultimately set the policy. Jack Dempsey said, convinced at this point we have a curse on the number 6 position. We need to move quickly now. I'm trying to get through these as quickly as I can so I can get back to the normal comments and I can speak about my own view on this as well. Sean Edwards said, if you need a persuading, I don't want him. I knew it wasn't happening as he was taking too long. Wasted too long on this player. Let's go for Ederson now. And I look, you know my thoughts on Ederson, mate. He was my primary target all summer. If you've been in sales, you've heard the phrase time kills deals. That's what happened here, said LFC Cal. Yes, you want to move these things through quickly, alright, but as I said, and as has been reiterated by many people, the vibe and the word was given to Liverpool that the player wanted the move. So obviously, his mind has been changed by, I don't know, whatever it is that has pulled on his heartstrings, his hometown club, a higher wage. At this stage, we don't know. Nathan Allen, let me get that one back up, sorry Nathan, said, people said nothing to do with the owners because he chose to stay. It's down to the owners because why go for a player that doesn't want to come? It's down to FSG because it's been a month and no signings. It's been 2 months now, mate. The window opened 14th of June. We're now coming towards the 13th of August. 2 months almost and not one damn signing. Not one. But now we look like mugs. And now one of two things is going to happen. Either we get taxed stupidity money on the next player we go for because they'll know we're desperate, or FSG will put the spin doctors out to say, well, we're okay, we'll get through this season. Next year, huge window next year. You know the drill. We've been through it so many feckin' times. Can you get one over the line? Investigation needed, said GDG Madrid. I don't know really what that is in relation to. I understand, bro. Smokescreen for Ederson. No smokescreen here, mate. Just tin pot embarrassment. What happened, Craig? Love the channel. Keep it up. Joe, honestly, mate, at this moment, I'm trying to find out, like everybody else. I was set to come on here and talk about where we're at with the deal, and then like that, this one account comes out with it. Now, let me just see this. Paul Joyce has now confirmed it. He said, Liverpool target Martín Zubimendi to remain at Real Sociedad. So there's your confirmation from Paul Joyce, which means he's staying. At this rate, we'll get no one. FSG can feck off, said Manny. Bulgars taste salty, said net spend champs. Soak it in, lads. Benjamin said, a reserved judgment even though I didn't think he was coming. Tanya, I believe the transfers in August. Sorry. So, do you see why I didn't believe in FSG this whole window? Because here we are again, looking like mugs. Looking like absolute twats. With no signings of the 3 that we were promised. No contract extensions. Owners over in America sitting on their hands. Absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Don't dare come at me defending these owners anymore. You know, we can talk about who's to blame on the failure. The player changing his mind. Of course. But it's just pathetic at this point. And the excuses are going to come out. Lewis Steele is saying, unlikely that Liverpool go in for another number 6 this summer. Richard Hughes believed Zubimendi had given his word. How? How do you not get a number 6? How? How can we not find somebody else now? How is it always, it's this guy or nothing? So now we've actually made money in the window. We've sold Carvalho, and now we're sitting here with our knob in our hands and hearing the absolute stupidity of, well, no number 6 in this window. Our club is a disgrace. Laddie KSI11 said Bruno Guimaraes 100 million release clause right now. Stevie Boy said, Craig, don't be upset. FSG saved our club, they said. And I say, FSG out. Mate, I've just got to reiterate what I've said all the time. They don't give a damn. They just don't give a damn. Chelsea have signed 10 players in this window. 10. Villa have signed loads of players in this window. And we, for 3 years searching, can't get a defensive midfielder over there. Not only that, the manager's already told Endo he ain't good enough. I mean, just get the fuck out of the club, John. It's not even where's the money anymore, John. It's you're a complete goddamn embarrassment. You don't deserve to be at the helm of Liverpool Football Club. FSG are tin pot owners with zero ambition and zero ability to actually get the job done. And somehow, the old reliable defenders, the FSG apologists, are going to be out there trying to smooth this over. There is no smoothing this over. You shit the bed, the club look like a laughing stock, and we're none the closer to bringing in any more signings. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for 2 months of absolute nothing and then one big massive growler left on the bed. Benjamin Alford said, now Joyce has stated, this is my first ever comment which states FSG out. Nessie said, no number 6. Nah, that's madness now. And Harry Klein has said, 4 years for a CDM, probably 5 or 6. I mean, how do you have the cheek as a club to come out and say, well, we probably won't bring in the number 6 now? How? How do you have the cheek to come out with that crap? Alex said, he's just popping now. What the hell is going on? Jason Hammond said, I feel sick. This is ridiculous now. Matthew said, what happened? Just joined. Zubimendi decided to stay at Sociedad and turned us down, mate. That's what's happened. And not only that, you love this. The geniuses at our tin pot club have decided to come around and say, well, Liverpool probably won't sign the number 6 now in this window. Let that sit for a minute. After 3 years, 3 turndowns, we've decided that we probably won't sign the number 6 in this window. Are you kidding me? Chris Chan said Hughes and Edwards out. What have they done so far? Nothing, except sell a player and alienate another 3 or 4. Linus said, if we don't buy a new number 6, we're not serious, but I think there will be another one. Jack Dempsey said, Gravenberch as a 6 will be like a new signing, can already smell the BS coming. Alex McCall said, we need to force them out. Enough now. Willa said, yet again, same old crap with FSG. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes out, it's the reason why Jurgen left. It stinks, mate. The whole lot of it absolutely stinks to high heavens. It's an embarrassment. Do you know what though? Just to even hear that line from Lewis Steele, that we probably won't even look to bring in a number 6 now. How do you square that off in your mind, like, as a fan? How are you... Imagine having paid for your season ticket again. It's gone up, or you buy a corporate one, and they're promising X, Y, and Z, selling the vision around the world. Under promise and over deliver, John. Under promise and over deliver, you absolute spoofer. Ted, your grandson loves you, mate. Transfers at this club are really painful, said Joe. They are, Joe. They are, mate. So, again, I understand there's going to be banter from opposition fans and all tonight, but this whole, I thought the deal was done. Again, nobody ever said the deal was done. Nobody. I said exactly what everyone else has been saying. We were told by the players' camp he was open to the move and wanted the move. So, you can only report what you've been told. And it doesn't matter if you believe me or not. Paul Joyce, David Ornstein, Florian Plettenberg, and everybody else said the same thing. The player gave his word that he'd make the move. And now he's changed his mind. Like a little bitch. I don't know how anybody else is responsible for that. Whether it be journalists or me or whoever. We can only tell you what everybody was being told. And I believe all of them, because everything collaborated with exactly what we heard. So how the change of heart and change of mind came around, I guess we're going to find that out over the coming days and weeks. But ultimately, all that counts right now is that we're again left short without a signing, with 2.5 weeks of the window left. We've got some work to do now, said Dixie Nomans. Well, no, apparently we don't, mate. Because according to Lewis Steele, it's unlikely Liverpool will look to sign a number 6 now. Kevin said, I can get another who's our option. There is no option according to the early reports, mate. This is the danger in doing what we did. If you don't pull off the August that everybody was promised, and remember Virgil's words yesterday, our captain yesterday, I have full faith in everybody at the club. I have full faith we'll get signings in. I trust everybody involved. Well, they've shit the bed again. So that trust is out the window. It's gone. Our friend, Mr. Moorhead, said they've been building up to this. They knew last week Joyce was their puppet. The whole Ryan G comment selling players. Maybe Klopp saw this. Whitehammer said, and now, Craig, we will sign a goalkeeper that we don't need. Well, look, the goalkeeper thing is a future-proofing thing, and I've always been okay about that. But I cannot understand for the life of me how you go from missing a target into there isn't another human being on the planet that we will sign in that position. Chris Chan said, be patient. Apparently August will be amazing. I know, that's what we were told, mate. Every year. I talk about it on this channel. Every single transfer window. And every year without fail, I'm told I'm a hothead. I'm told that I should apologise to FSG. Fuck FSG. Can Slot get some backing, please? Said Mr. I Cup My Farts. Maybe now people will get that Klopp was doing great in spite of Edwards, not because of him. He's been living off Salah deal for years, said Nalepku. Mark Fitchin said, Craig, with all that's been said about Endo, where does that leave him? Can he just walk away? Who else do we have for number 6? On that one, mate, we've just alienated our only number 6 by telling him very clearly that Slot doesn't think he's good enough for the role. And now all of a sudden, he's all we've got. Because our owners are a disgrace. There's no spinning this. There's no fixing this. Our owners have once again turned us into a laughingstock. Corona 1 said, do you think that there will be FSGO protests at games if there's no signings? I can't tell you. Because whenever anybody says FSGO, we're all lunatics. We've never seen the stadium. We're ungrateful. All the stuff that we hear every single season, mate. You know yourself. You've seen it. Sticks and Stone said Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo, Zubimendi, Bellingham. Who else can reject us? Jake said, how have we not got a 6? I can name at least 101. Surely an average number 6 is better than playing a player out of position in the 6. Craig, I can't get another season as the nearly men. I know, bro. You shouldn't have to. Look at our competitors. City are a bit wobbly at the minute, and Arsenal have gone out and signed players. And we've just sold Carvalho today. So we've saved 18.5 million quid in wages every year, and we've just brought in a deal worth 27.5 million minus about 7.5 million. So 20 million quid. So they're up 38.5 million quid. And us as fans are supposed to believe that they actually want to win. Tom's phrase that they love marketing now, under promise and over deliver. When have they ever done that? Ever? J-Mag said, I feel bad for Slot. They need to back him. The excuses will be wheeled out and the usual sympathisers will buy it and gloss it over. Because they want to be on the next pre-season tour. They want to be at the next press conference. They want to make sure they get their access. Again, we're probably going to be one of the only ones who actually have the balls to call these owners out for being tin pot and embarrassing. Nathan said, well, Edwards, you wanted control over the football side. You got it, and what have you done? He's made a mess of it, mate. Him and Hughes. They've been given assurances by the player that he wanted to move. Cool. Well, then you should have triggered the release clause the day you got the yes. Not trying to nickel and dime to spread it out over a few extra payments. That's great if it comes off. But if it doesn't come off, which it hasn't, you're ending up looking very foolish. Daniel Nielsen, this is a new scam. Flip and say no, number 6. Madness. It's a disgrace. Joe Stout says, collectively, we should all delete Twitter during the summer and January and forget about the transfer window. Well, I don't use X or Twitter, mate, so personally I don't have any deleting to do there, but I get your point. Going to be interesting to see how this window affects contract renewals. Would you sign an extension with a club showing no ambition in the window? Probably not, but it'll be leveraged for more money by Trent and Virgil and their agents, and you can't blame them because now they go, well, now they've absolutely got to tie Trent up. It's just embarrassing. You think last summer's transfer window was bad? It was out. No, I thought last summer's window was decent. McAllister, Soboslai, Gravenberg. I have no complaints about those signings. Harry Klein said, Wharton, Decore, Ederson, Bruno Guimaraes, Varela, the Porto central midfielder. Stargirl said, it's stupid now to sell Bobby Clark if we're not getting a new midfielder. Yeah, and again, we've alienated some of these guys. Clark knows he's surplus to requirements. Endo knows he's surplus to requirements. And we've already sold Carvalho. Jaywin said, do you think we'll get a new top signing? I don't know what to expect. Again, the early line coming out from Lewis Steele is that Liverpool believe they had an agreement in place, and Merseyside sources say Zubimendi has gone back on his word. So again, like I've said to you, he told the club he wanted to move. And now he's changed his mind because he's a little bitch boy. He wasn't got the stomach to move away. It's his decision, it's his career, fair enough. But again, he told the club he wanted to move and then he changed his mind. How about we make a £60 million offer for Casemiro? Nah, I'm going to pass on that one, thanks. What signings would make the window acceptable? Ederson, a centre-back, and the forward. Oh, and also, by the way, let's not forget that they're touting around Luis Diaz as well, because nobody's put in an offer yet, but the Athletic are writing daily articles at this point to say Liverpool won't accept below 50 million for a player that nobody's put an offer in for. So they're obviously trying to kick him out the door and bring in money. So we are now into the phase where they've made a profit in this transfer window. These tin pot clowns in Boston, these absolute charlatans, spoofers, have actually made a profit so far with 2.5 weeks left in the window. Aaron 4 said, feel bad for Slot, almost feel like FSG chose him because he knew he was lucky to get the job and would go along with what he's told. XN said, respect to Zubimendi, loves his boyhood club. Fair enough, but as I've said, look, I get that aspect of it, but he gave his word. So, but look, I get your point. I do get your point, and I was delighted, as was everybody, when Gerrard changed his mind and stayed. Jonathan Chappell, you didn't put a comment in, mate, but thank you. Jerry said, couldn't convince Bellingham, then Caicedo, now this summer Zubimendi. Where is our pulling power? Hughes and co should be embarrassed. We didn't even go hard for Bellingham because of money. Money was the reason. Money. Because they didn't want to pay it. Not just a fee, another bit. Our owners live in this la-la land where somehow they think in their warped little minds that this makes sense. You don't get to be the smartest guys in the room when you're not. You don't get to be lauded when you shit the bed. T-Man said, every season Liverpool decided to play snakes and ladders with transfers. Yep. And every season, the gullible believe in the owners. And calm down. We were all told August. We were told there's going to be huge 10 days coming up a few days ago. Now all of a sudden, zip, nada, nothing. Except a sale. Carvalho, gone. Brentford. Wishing him the best of luck with his career. Obviously he didn't feel the love at Liverpool. Don't blame him for moving. We have to say we don't go for a 6. You know why? No. It doesn't make any difference. Because not saying you're not going for a 6 and going for a 6 isn't going to make it any cheaper than telling the world you're going for a 6. As soon as you come and knocking for a player, regardless of what you say publicly, the selling club are going to know that you're desperate. So saying it publicly or not, it's not going to change the fact that as soon as you come sending an email or ringing up an interest in a player, they're going to know that your pants have pulled down, John's lubed you up, you're over the table, and you're ready to go. Made money from sell-on clauses as well. Yes, that's true, Connor. We made 8 million from Solanke. So FSG are up about 50 odd million so far. But they saved the club though. Do you know what I mean? They do have the best interests. John's always just under-promising and over-delivering. Definitely not full of shit. Craig, I hope you're well. People piss me off telling me to trust the club when we can't sign anyone in the position in 3 years. I hate FSG. FSG out, said Tom. I'd like Dara O'Shea, said Dylan Henderson in DM at this rate. On the bright side, almost 10k watching, Craig. Honestly, those are numbers that would usually make me over the moon happy, mate. But we all know why there's 10k watching. It's because we're all on anger. We're all fuming. That's why we have the big crowd in. Because everybody, whether they're an opposition fan or whether they're a Liverpool fan right now, are absolutely gobsmacked. Some of them gobsmacked happy. Some of them Liverpool fans like us gobsmacked, shocked, angry, frustrated. Alan said, I'm sure somewhere Klopp is relieved that he went when he did. Ash LFC Forever said, joke of a summer, going for a lad that's notoriously hard to get. Captain comes out saying we need more players, plus no contract talks. Jonathan Chappell said LFC should sign Jamie Bevan from AFC Royal Oak. He'd probably turn us down as well, mate, at this rate. Ownership never grew up with the game. A very fair comment. They didn't. They came in under the FFP guys thinking that they could just be clever and outwit everybody. But the bad thing for us, the fans, is that football clubs' values during that time have absolutely skyrocketed. But our owners, they haven't kept up with it. We're constantly told, here's a new partnership with LucasAid. Billy Hogan bragging on the US tour about how Liverpool only partner up with blue chip companies because of the prestige. Well, what good is the prestige if we can't buy a damn player? If Caicedo, Lavia, Bellingham, and now Zubimendi don't want to come, those blue chip partnerships aren't worth a shit to us now. That Nike deal ain't worth anything to us. All of the crap that we get subjected to from the PR merchants at FSG isn't worth a shit to us in the transfer market. Worse than Caicedo, took a week to disappoint us. John, get your finger out and get us a new number 6. We shouldn't have to sell to buy. Again, most watched football club in the Premier League around the world last year, boasting about that as well this week. The club's own account boasting about how we're the most watched Premier League club around the world. Keep breaking records. Promises. That's what's been broken. Promises. Jamerican28 said, and there it is, was going to buy the kit for me and the fam. Now I won't. I cannot and will not financially support this nonsense. They had one job. Graham Jackson said, this is possibly why Klopp left. He could see FSG weren't going to back him. FSG out. FSG out. I'm going to just put a poll up in the chat and I want you guys to vote. And a total red, thank you for your membership comment, mate. Let me just get this poll up and then we'll get stuck into more news. Nope, sorry. Well, there's a poll. Very simple one. Owners, FSG in. FSG out. Let's see how we're feeling about it right now. Let me just catch up on these as well. Seems like Arsenal will get Marino now. Exactly, so they're going to keep on strengthening. They're strengthening a defence and a midfield that was already class last year. And we're trying to be convinced that Sepp van den Berg's good enough. Slot was brought in to improve the young players, and yet we're trying to sell them all from underneath them. Clark, everyone, Carvalho. The players are posting black and white pictures. The club is a laughing stock. Daniel said, Craig, would you change your mind now on Caicedo deal being legitimate? No, I genuinely believe that they were going to pay that money. Now, I could be wrong on it, mate, but that I was willing to give that benefit of the doubt. But like I've said all summer, with these owners, mate, I don't know what to believe anymore because they're an absolute disgrace. Callum said, after this, a move for Gordon is definitely a no. After this, I don't know if we're going to make a single signing in the window, mate. You know, because we were told 3 in 10 days. We'll do an Arsenal and sign Callistrom. I don't know who that is, XN, mate. Love my club, but I hate my owners. That's exactly where I'm at. Exactly where I'm at, mate. Couldn't have worded it any better. News says that Real Sociedad was forcing Zubimendi to pay the release clause. So, it's not... Let me explain it to you. In Spain, in his contract, the release clause has to be triggered by the player. So what that would mean was Liverpool would have fronted the money to him or his agent, and they would have then went and lodged that into the La Liga bank account, and then we could have started negotiating with the player. One second. Nick said FSG out, access hunting fan channels out. I mean, I'm not going to comment on other fan channels, mate. I've made that promise this summer and I'm going to stick to it. But FSG can kiss my ass, quite frankly. Craig, don't forget, we still haven't replaced Matip yet. Absolute joke. We only need 2 positions, centre back and a 6. I'm finally done. FSG out, said Jake. I'd rather have oil barons as owners that spend, said CH6059. Sam Nevitt said, how is Richard Hughes said to be a transfer guru? This is the first contract that he's been negotiating for us. So, not a great start to his career at Liverpool. Who else do you think is on our shortlist? Said Jaywen Jansen. Well, according to Lewis Steele, let me just read that back out for you in case you're coming in a little bit late. Is it this one? Unlikely that Liverpool will go in for another number 6 this summer. Richard Hughes believed Zubimendi had given his word. Well, that's not much use to anybody, is it? Lee, thank you for the super chat, although you didn't put a comment in. Rain said, who is our 6 for this season? As of right now, probably Gravenberch and Maka in that position, because the manager doesn't fancy Endo. Can't rewrite what's been said and what's been briefed publicly. Nick said, problem now, the next target know they're second best. Absolutely. Absolutely, mate. They will say VVD and Trent contract will be too expensive. We'll get hyped about Gordon all season. Money problems again without a single plan B, said Harry Klein. So, Michael Owens said FSG out, trending on X, Craig. But somehow there's only 77% in our chat, unless they're opposition fans, because I cannot believe for the life of me that there are any Liverpool fans who can still somehow justify the transfer business under these owners. Sean Madden said FSG couldn't sign a birthday card. They would, but this is what they do with the birthday card, thinking we're all tick. They'd write it out and go, "Dear blah blah, happy birthday. Sorry, we forgot to put the money in the card." That's the type of birthday card I'd imagine John would write. Righteous Gamer said, what happened to the days where we did our work early? We could have paid the release clause early if it was a not sure, leave it and move on. One thing that is consistent across every report on this is that the player had given his word. Whether it was to Richard Hughes, to Liverpool, to the journalist I spoke to, everybody was told that he would move. Everybody. That's why Liverpool were hanging about. The change of heart, again, you can talk about the heartstrings being pulled upon leaving your boyhood club. I get that, but you ain't going to win jack shit in Sociedad. So maybe he's banking on Alonso going to Madrid and him getting that move next year. I don't know. But it's undoubted that we are a laughing stock again. No incomings, but let go. Promising young lads. Considering that we play a new Champions League format, White Klopp, have we left with a Europa League squad? FSG out. Matthew said, so it was FSG who chose to be cheap again. If he said to me or you or anybody else in this conversation, I want to move, I would be triggering that release clause immediately, because as a friend said a moment ago, in sales, the longer stuff goes on, the less likely it is to get done. So you make it move quickly and then you call his bluff. If he doesn't want to come, you find out a lot quicker. Now we just look like an absolute joke. Remember, Michael Edwards was brought in to remove the emotion from the decision making. Well, apparently he's removed common sense as well, because everybody involved in this has once again took us all for fools and turned Liverpool into a laughingstock. What you want to hear is Liverpool are going to leave no stone unturned finding a solution for the number 6 position that Arne Slot desperately needs filled. Liverpool are going straight to work on it. That's what we should be hearing. Because remember, it doesn't matter if everybody knows we're searching for a 6. If you can't do it on the QT, you can't. As soon as you come a knocking, the club's going to know it won't change anything. We should be hearing that no stone will be left unturned. We should be absolutely adamant that we are going to strengthen and get the job done in this window. But no, we aren't. We're briefing that, well, probably won't sign a 6 in this window now. Mr. Wolfhound Gaming said, that's it. Get FSGO trending now. Enough is enough. David Brett Smith said, seems like we're the only team that don't have a plan B. We refuse to even acknowledge plan B. All the time. We get sold generational talent money. Never happens. We get told that we will make 3 signings in August. Haven't made 1, but we've sold a player. We've weakened ourselves in this window. I'd rather have less wealthy owners who spend everything they feasibly can than our richer owners who penny pinch. We might spend less overall, but we'd have owners who care. FSG out, said Nick. I've got no doubt that somewhere, somebody in the Liverpool's communication department is monitoring social media and all fan accounts. Let me say this really clearly if you're watching. Resign. You should not work for them. Absolute spoofers. They're destroying the football club. Arsenal finished second and go out and strengthen more because they want to win. We get knocked out of the Europa League by Atalanta and do nothing. We fall away at the end of the year chasing another quadruple that ends up with a League Cup. We get sole division of the big August because when stuff shits the bed in August, well then there isn't time to resolve it, is there? But people still believe. Nessie said, I promised myself to trust FSG for the last time in the transfer window, along with Hughes and Edwards, but the second statement by Lewis completely flipped me. Never again. They need to go now. It'll be interesting to see what the likes of Spirit of Shankly, Spy on Cop, and the season ticket holders have to say. Because I can't imagine anybody is happy with this. You can make an argument to say, oh, we'll be competitive. Yeah, maybe. But again, not showing ambition, is it? It's not under-promising and over-delivering. Jamal said, I'm at work and so angry I might need to leave. I'm at work and so angry as well, mate, but I'm not going to leave because I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to vent. Ornstein says we won't sign the 6. FSG out now, said Fraser. Jordan Mitchell, thank you for your super chat, mate. You didn't put a comment in, but appreciate it nonetheless. And KK2 said, I understand the frustration with Hughes, but how is this FSG's fault? Because they own the fucking club, mate. They employed the people who failed. Surely you see that. Surely the strategy of going into August and putting all your eggs in one basket. The buck stops at the top in any business, mate. In any business. Whoever fails lower down the chain doesn't matter. The buck stops at the top in any company. As people have said, the fish rots from the head. So, is it a coincidence that Caicedo failed? Lavia failed? Because we didn't have Hughes and Edwards, but we do have Hughes and Edwards now, and we're still failing. So, it can't be everybody else's fault but the owners. Phil said Caicedo was a good miss. Still think Philly would have done very well for us, mate. Really, I do. I'm not going to revisit. I honestly felt we would have done very well at Liverpool, but, you know, it didn't work out. And here we are a year later, mate. Same embarrassment. I mean, Sashin. I mean, you can laugh at Liverpool Football Club, no problem, mate, but you paid for the privilege, so just remember that. Fabrizio posted, brilliant. Did he say what he said yesterday as well, which is the indications are the player wants to move, or has he suddenly just had a vision? Jay Craig, Liverpool's one of the most desirable clubs in the world. Why does it always feel like we're begging people to join the club? Because if we're begging people to join the club, because these owners are cheap fucks. Jerry Z said probably end up with Sander Berg. He'd probably say no to us as well. You know what? PR is next. Grafenberg is a 6. Rabiot on a free. I would rather keep Bobby Clark than sign Adrian Rabiot on a free. Because he is just not what we want at this club. Not what we need at this club. Sometimes you can't buy loyalty. Gerrard said yes, then turned down Chelsea. No plan B is a pure fail though. Would ask for Angelo Stiller for 40 million. So again, Liam, I'm not going to argue about the heartstrings and the decision from the player. But I'll bring you back to what our CEO, Rick Parry, said at the time. He said the worst thing Chelsea ever did was let Steven Gerrard leave Roman Abramovich's yacht. And the worst thing we did is not trigger that release clause when he said yes initially. We gave him time and them time to change his mind. And it's worked. And as people have said, again, hometown club, understand that 100%. but it doesn't help us right now. XN said, legit, every Premier League club has made a signing this window except Liverpool. It's actually crazy. Every club in the Eredivisie, the Bundesliga, La Liga, the Premier League and the Portuguese Premier League, every single club in those leagues have made a signing, except us, who are supposed to be believing that we want to challenge for a European Cup and a league title. Dominic Pelosi said, how do we get FSG out boycott games? Bad PR. There's only one thing I know that they hate, and that's negative PR. So be vocal, be loud, hold them to account. You have every right to. United fan here, would you consider Sander Berg? No, he's just not good enough, mate. With all due respect to him. Ederson would be where I'd go next, personally. But, I haven't even got to read some of the journo comments yet, so I'm going to go back to them in a second. I'm just making sure I don't miss anyone's super chats. I want to warn you about it, Joyce's articles. I don't know what that means, mate. Sorry. Amazing the timing. Season starts this weekend. FSG job complete. Distractions and excuses. Yep. And again, it works. It works, mate. But every year. So do you know what this reminds me of? You know when the fixtures are coming out, every day before the fixtures come out, there's a fake list put out that says Liverpool are playing blah de blah. Every year it comes out, and every year it's fake, and every year people fall for it. Same with us in transfer windows. Every single year we get the big build up to the window, the promise of the quality being brought in, something happens that it doesn't work out, and then all of a sudden future promises come and people believe it. And the rest of us get told that we're ungrateful, petulant, spoiled, kids, don't know where Anfield is, for just seeing what nobody else is apparently able to see, that these owners are absolute spoofers. Jordan said, I love watching you melt down. Thanks. I feel the same way, and I can't lose it at work in the US. FSG killed the Red Sox into mediocrity, and now they're trying to buy the Celtics. This is me being restrained right now. I promise you. This is me trying not to get kicked off YouTube or land us in any legal trouble. If I was to say to you how I'm really feeling right now, Jordan, this channel probably wouldn't be here tomorrow. Mike Johnson said, if you think about Slott's comments yesterday, he probably knew this was going to happen. And what the hell has Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards been doing? Nothing, mate. And I said this even during this week. Why is it we can't work on a few things at once? Why is it we can only seem to have one transfer thing in the offing and everybody needs to be in on that and nobody can do anything else? You know the answer. It's because it buys time. That's the answer. It buys time for the spoofers to get through another transfer window. Epiphany said, do you think players prefer London clubs over living in Liverpool? I mean, yes, there will be some players or some players' partners or families who love the idea of city living. London, of course, would appeal to a lot of people. So that sometimes would definitely be a factor. With Alexis Sanchez, it was a factor. For me, on a personal level, I'm the exact opposite. I prefer a quieter life, out in the sticks a little bit, not into the city. But yeah, I can absolutely see how some players would want the bright lights of a big city. Alf said, long season ahead. Could see us holding 5 to City and Arsenal next season with no proper DM. Let's say we go... Oh, 1 second. Sebastian said, let's say we go and win the title with 0 signings. You just know what FSG is going to say. I mean, look, if we went on to win the title with no signings, it would be great and all. But then I'd be thinking, well, we could have won the title in the European Cup, or we could have won a double, or we could have won a treble. It's inexcusable. Like, there's no more positivity. There's no more benefit of the doubt. These owners are an absolute joke. Even if you are somebody who still thinks it isn't down to the owners, it is. And if it is the owners who feel like it's Edwards and Hughes, then fire both of them. Hydro Wilson said, why does it feel like everyone is now using Liverpool to up their value globally? Who bets Zubimendi ends up in Madrid? It could well happen, but it won't be this summer. Danny Bingham said, Craig, I'm never going to believe a transfer until they're in a Liverpool shirt. Embarrassing again. Splash it all on Ederson or Varela. So, Danny, I think... Pardon me, mate. I just want to have a quick drink. I think most Liverpool fans could understand missing out on a target. We're still angry, frustrated and all the other stuff. But to hear that we're not going to sign another one in this window, that's the part that's making my blood boil. As many people have said in their super chats, where's the plan B? Why is there never a plan B? It's, we want this guy or nobody. And it's usually nobody. Jay Doran said, same SH1T every window. Get them out now. Niall Jordan said, Hughes about as useful as Slots Barber, no ambition. Sorry mate, that didn't come up on screen. Let me bring it up for you. Hughes about as useful as Slots Barber, no ambition, said Niall Jordan. Why don't we feckin' go for Bruno Guimaraes now, said Diaria Shah. The journalists are saying, mate, that we're not going to sign any number 6 in this window, which, again, I can't fathom. Ederson, Guimaraes, like, there are Varela, there are options out there, but you have to ask why. Why no other option? You can only assume that it's because they don't really give a shit. Like, I can't think of any other reason. Missing out on a target, being spun a yarn, lied to, we can all understand. But to then follow that up with briefing quickly that we're not going to do anything? Jaywin said, Craig, where do you think we finished this season? 3rd or 4th. 3rd or 4th. Without a serious injury or two. A serious injury or two and it could be 5th or 6th. Like, I was looking at the odds earlier on, before any of this stuff came out with regards to Zubimendi. So when people thought we still might sign him, the odds for Liverpool were 13-2 to win the league. So just over 6.5 to 1. Man City were 13-10 and Arsenal were 7-4. So we're seen as nowhere near the top 2, but the best of the rest, according to the bookies and the money that's going on there. Mac Kelly said, alright, not that long ago I had some patience, but this is an absolute look into FSG with so many problems wrapped up in one screw up. When was the last statement signing? All I can think of was Torres under Benitez. We made all our players they were related to unknowns, Coutinho, Suarez. You'd have to say Alisson and Van Dijk. Darwin was a big signing, you know, plenty of hype around his name, but you'd have to say that it came under the Coutinho money. And to hear John Acterberg come out earlier in this window, as soon as he leaves Liverpool, goes over to work with Stephen Gerrard at Al Ettifaq, he comes out and said, well, if we had signed Fekir, we wouldn't have had the money to sign Alisson. So they never had any intention of making all of those signings. So why let Fekir go through a medical, sit there in the kit and get photos taken if you'd no intention of signing him? It feels like when people leave the club, the truth starts to come out a bit more about these owners. I've spent more money in your super chat than FSG and spent on transfers this window. Joke. Fans in Bordeaux are like, saw this coming. There'll still be the lads in the comments in The Athletic saying, oh, FSG are brilliant. Save the club. Financially stable. I don't remember the last time anybody got given a Ballon d'Or or a European Cup for finances. For being the best boys. Lucas Phillips. By the way, we're small comfort, but we're about 761 subscribers away from 270,000. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. Even if you're just enjoying me melting down here. We do appreciate your support, good, bad or indifferent, but please do hit that subscribe button. Getting into the season with the same team Klopp had with an unproven manager, we've somehow got worse even though we had a chance to improve. Mental, said Lucas Phillips. Kelly, thank you for your super chat. And I agree with your statement. Ederson. I could make a song out of that. Cheer up, young Craig. Oh, I can't, Kelly. I can't, mate. I'm still kind of in the denial point of all of this, Kelly, at the minute. But I'm also in the want to put my foot through the window. It's just so angering. Couldn't do that when we had to see. Slot had to assess the squad. Alright, so the manager assessed the squad, deemed all the youngsters that we think were decent pretty much not good enough. Gives the green light for Bobby Clark to move on. So he's upset and he's posting black and white images. Then we've got McConnell posting the same type of stuff. Then we sell Carvalho. Sepp van den Berg doesn't want to be here. And yet we can't sell the players we wanted to move on as well. It's a joke. Anthony Packer said, watch them announce Trent Alexander-Arnold in the next 2 days. By the way, it's Anthony with no H, not being rude, just correcting. Huh? I don't remember commenting on a H in anything, bro. Anthony's Anthony. It's my name. Like, my first name is Craig-Anthony. So, okay, Anthony. I mean, okay. They're blaming you for singing the song on Twitter. That's because Twitter's full of idiots. Like, it's my fault. Yeah, it is. I take full responsibility for FSG's not signing anyone. It's my fault. That's it. It's down to me. It's not down to anybody else. It's always my fault. I get it. I'm used to it. No problem. Twitter can do what they want and live in their own pile of misery. But if that's where they want to spend their time rather than being, I don't know, proactive, calling out the owners of the club, fair enough. I won't see a fucking word of it anyway because I'm not on there, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest, mate. Fekir, Tchouaméni, Caicedo, Lavia, now Zubimendi. What about Joyce, Ornstein, Romano, Plettenberg, and everybody else that said he was coming and had given his word? Somehow, that's okay, but it's my fault? Cool. FSGO trends every summer. No club owners do that, said Aaron 4. FSG plan A equals run down the clock, said Paul McGee. Yes, it is, mate. But again, it's the believers that I don't get. How every year these same people fall for it. FSG needs $4 billion to buy the Boston Celtics in the NBA. Hughes and Edwards would have been promised funds and not given. Buy to sell FC, said Geordie. Joyce's tweet says, we're not happy with Ryan? I'm sorry, mate, that's confused me a little bit. I haven't even got around to reading the tweets yet. I've about 9 messages to get through because I'm still just reading out your super chats in case I forget any. Robert Cosby said, this is as bad as the Super League, FSG out. And by the way, to the lad who came in and said they're mocking you on Twitter, why do you think that's necessary to come in and say to me? Like, if you don't like me, I get it. If Twitter don't like me, I get it. But why do you seem to take joy in spending money to come in to tell me that people are belittling me? That's a weird... Do you not think that's a weird mindset, bro? 50 to 60 million, you get a quality 6, just excuses FC. Liam said, anyone ever considered the club tried? Yeah, and failed. We all considered they tried, mate. But I could try Shag Mila Kunis. Is everybody going to stand around and give me plaudits for it? It's... Okay, he didn't want to leave his hometown club. That's fine. But Caicedo, Lavia... You know, it is a pattern. Whichever way you want to defend the owners, it's a pattern. Tushar, how are you, my friend? Said, as a rival fan, I was scared it would strengthen even more, which could have potentially led to sustained success, given Man City's legal troubles. Looks to me that your owners are being penny wise and pound fools. I mean, it's a very balanced comment, my friend. Our owners are just taking everybody for mugs again, bro. That's the truth of it. Some people feel like it's okay because, you know, like the gentleman a minute ago, Liam, who said, but the club tried, so they tried. But, you know, winning is what's important to me as a fan, not trying. You know, this isn't give medals out for participation time. But, yeah, look, if I'm an opposition fan right now to Shar, I'm over the moon about this news as well. So, yeah, I totally understand and appreciate where you're coming from. Craig, you reckon if Jurgen was still there, it'd be a different pull? I mean, it's purely a personal decision by the player, then fair enough. It is a personal decision by the player. But the point of it is, he gave his word, changed his mind, and we've wasted another week of the window on it. Or, however, like, we only have known about this for, let's say, 5 to 7 days. For all we know, they could have been negotiating this for a month. But all that time spent is now useless. And that's semi-forgivable until you get the briefing that we're not going to look for another number 6. Like, I think most rational people can get their head around some part of it. But not doing anything about it. That's the part, yet again, that we see a pattern in. Don't get the one they want, so there's no other player in the world who's good enough, and we just close up shop on it. That's the part that I don't get. TOTT2KZ1 said, the view of this club is that they have Gravenberch and Curtis Jones as potential partners for Alexis McAllister, while Szoboszlai and Trent can also play there. There's also Trey Neone, who's highly regarded, Paul Joyce. So Trey Neone, these same journalists told us all 2 or 3 weeks ago that he wasn't being looked at as a first teamer for the season ahead. So that one is absolute bullshit. The rest of it, Jones isn't good enough, is going to be injured and isn't a number 6. Gravenberch, by all means, could become a number 6. But where was that thought process when they went for Zubimendi? You can't rewrite history and say all these guys are good enough when they weren't good enough when you wanted this guy. It doesn't make sense. Except for the PR merchants who are licking the club's backside again because they haven't got the balls to say what needs to be said, which is that they're pathetic. Alf said, we're going to be led to believe Gravenberch has suddenly become better than Rodri. Exactly. And it doesn't help when some of these journalists don't have the backbone to actually hold them to account. Mutt Say What You See said, why aren't these journos being fined for fake news? We'd be fined or fired if our jobs we spread lies about the company. Because it's easier just to point the finger at fan channels, mate. We'll take all the ire from it. Meanwhile, they'll just go about their jobs. But we'll be the ones who are to blame. Like our friend said about me on Twitter earlier on. It'll somehow, they'll all just sail off into the sunset and still be looked upon as heroes, even though every single one of those journalists have got 5 or 6 things wrong. And I'm not going in on the journalists outside of the part where they don't have the backbone to hold the club to account. I'd just love to see 2 or 3 of them go, Liverpool fans have once again been taken for a ride by these owners. Another transfer window failure isn't good enough for a fan base that were expectant. But no, they won't. They'll do the club's bidding. They'll print all the excuses. Where is the money, John? Exactly, Connor. Where is the goddamn money? It was a joke about your singing, Craig. It's all respect for your content. Honestly, dude, I don't take these things personally. Not from you anyway. I'm just thinking, I was talking about the weird-minded stuff. But look, ultimately, mate, people are upset. I get it. Everybody needs to vent. And that's why I come on. Like, I could have just not came on here when this news broke. But I know people want to vent. And I want to vent. I have no problem with you at all, mate. Don't worry about that. And thank you for the comment. That Zubimendi's lost, not Liverpool, said Roosbet. Missing out on Champions League football and forever remaining Rodri's and resting. Asantino said, they will sell every player tied to Klopp. We'll end up with another Coop Miners or some other person. The Klopp-Edwards riff was huge. FSG out. There has to have been something to that. Like, he comes back in as soon as Klopp leaves, is given the decision-making powers, is told we're going to remove emotion from the decision-making, and yet gives a fella a week to change his mind. You couldn't make that up. Remove emotion from the decision-making, and yet let a fella talk himself out of a move. Trigger the clause, you cheap fucks. Underscore KMALH said, fan from the US here, will welcome in my friend. Red Sox and FSG are fed up with the cheapness. Red Sox and Liverpool are fed up with the cheapness of FSG. Both clubs historic, now crumbling. FSG is scum. Is a scummy organisation, said K-Mal. So for me, mate, it started with the very first decisions. So Fenway Park. There was the option to redo Fenway Park or go and build a new stadium. And what did they do? They did the one that tugs on people's heartstrings, but coincidentally is also the cheaper option. Liverpool, Anfield, we're going to look at every option. And then they find out it's clearly cheaper to redo Anfield, and all of a sudden it's, we listen to the fans. We're staying at Anfield. Our spiritual home. Fuck you, John. It's always the cheaper answer. Always. Paulus Andronicus said, suspicious that this comes out right after the news that Sociedad wanted the full release clause. So Liam says, Craig, come on, mate. You're going on about the club not being able to sign Lavia and Caicedo. Where are they up to now? So, have you lost it? Like, genuinely, have you lost the plot? I think you might have, mate. The club didn't pull away from the 2 signings. They wanted them and failed. What they've done afterwards is irrelevant. Like, there's no stability at Chelsea and one of the lads got injured. So how that in your brain, Liam, correlates into we somehow made the right call? I mean, it's fucking weird. To be honest with you, mate, it's weird. You look, you can do whatever you want, bro. I don't have to agree with you. Same way you don't have to agree with me, but Honestly, mate, you're John W. Henry's wet dream. Like, if he could get 61,000 of you inside Anfield every week, my God, he'd be happy. That is some very weird logic you've used there to try and join up those dots. Hey, Adam said, I disagree with FSG. Hey, we should only go for players who seriously improve us, not a mediocre DM in panic. So, again, A. Adams, no problem if a player changes his mind. I think, as we said many times, all of us as human beings can understand that. But what we can't understand is people like yourself who then seem to think that there isn't anybody else that's good enough, and that there hasn't been anybody else that's good enough, and that it's best to do nothing than go after somebody else. 3 years. 3 years, bro. 3 years they've been looking. Like, how do you accept that? 3 years. And somehow you're still thinking it's better we go into a 4th year without bringing in someone. Genius stuff. Genius. FSG gets away with this BS every season. FSG out. Brian, how are you, mate? Lovely to see you in. I wish it was under better circumstances, of course. So Brian, who by the way lives in Boston, said, this is my last straw. I cancel my Liverpool membership. I can't give up being a fan, but I refuse to give them any more of my money. Love to you all. It's okay, Brian. We've been told by a few people that we were right not to do it. You know, the lad changed his mind. Liverpool are right not to just buy anyone. Because there's nobody else, mate. Did you not get that memo, Brian? Nobody else, bro, in the whole world that's good enough to play for Liverpool. Nobody. They don't exist. So, best to just go and walk away and not spend any money. Best, how are you, my friend? Said, fan from Thailand. Well, firstly, mate, welcome in. Lovely to have you with us again. I wish it was under better circumstances. You said it's 4 a.m. your night is ruined. I don't imagine I'll be getting much sleep tonight myself. But yeah, it's understandable, mate. It's understandable. Damien Conlon, how are you, Damien? Said, not backing a brand new manager after finishing 3rd is unacceptable. Slot thrown to the Wolves here. FSG an absolute disgrace. Just do one out now. I mean, I'm with you on that, mate. But, you know, again, I've got to reiterate that there are still some people who feel like it's okay. Again, I can understand it from a human perspective about the situation with Zubimendi, but I can't understand this immediate briefing that we're not looking for anybody else. Like, that's the part that is just unacceptable to me. Gary said, it was the same spoofing when we were promised a centre-back last season. We're one centre-back injury away from a crisis. It's gotten worse, though, because we've lost Joel Matip, who was a very trustworthy centre-back, who had a very untimely injury, and he's gone. But, again, remember, we had 18.5 million pounds saved in wages that we were told would be used in this transfer window. That's before anything else. Right now, we've got £8 million in for Solanke, about 20 million all in after we pay Fulham their money for Carvalho. So we've made 28 million quid. We've saved 18.7 million quid. We haven't extended one single player. And somehow, in this mad parallel universe that I seem to be living in, there are some people who still think this is acceptable. Wow. Sugar Ray 29 said, sorry, joined late. I liked Fabio and he did well in pre-season. He played well and scored goals. Why sell him? I'm sure he wanted to stay. Why are we interested in players I've never heard of? So I have to say I'm equally as surprised, mate, about the situation with Carvalho. You know, if we were to believe that it was a fresh start for everybody and the players were given a chance to show the new manager what they could do, well, like you, I've been impressed with Carvalho. Scored against Arsenal. Scored 2 goals in pre-season overall. Looked like he was fitting in. Looked like he was comfortable enough in the system. But immediately sold. Then Bobby Clark is basically told he's going. You've seen the black and white picture from him. So he could be off to Salzburg. If it's not Salzburg, maybe Newcastle. Although maybe he gets thrown under the bus now as well. On top of that, you'd McConnell posting a similar image. Virgil saying he's no word on any negotiations. Trent spent the whole summer with Madrid players partying and there was no rush to give him an... It's absolute feckin' madness. That news about we have players that can do the 6, like Fabio Diaz will do a job, is gone and the other one's probably gone. It's absolute pony, mate. If all these players could do a job, then why weren't they able to do a job before we start negotiating with Zubimendi? You and I know the answer, and everybody that's semi-sensible knows the answer. It's a lie. It's a big, dirty, stinking, flaming bag of shit left on the doorstep. It's a lie. They weren't good enough to do the role last week, but now all of a sudden they're reincarnated as Rodri's little brother. I don't get it. Again, not having to go with you, just trying to understand the logic of how anyone buys this spoofery. Tipsy Dipsy said, they're expecting Arne Slot to work miracles like Klopp had to. Usual PR spin for telling us there's no time left in the window. Not our problem, FSG. Chris Davis said, Hughes should be sacked immediately. He's let Zubimendi waste too much time without a backup plan. If FSG do not sack him, then it tells a tale. They're not going to sack him. Because, you know why? Do we think that John's over there now, throwing the remote control at the wall in anger in Boston? On the phone to Tom Werner, the two of them saying, our hopes and dreams are gone. The ambition we wanted to win the league's out. No, they don't give a shit. Callum O'Connor, thank you, mate, for your super chat. You didn't put a comment in. Alf said Stefan will be thrown under the bus to perform. Gio said, so disappointed at work right now. Wild said, can anybody legally remove FSG as owners? No. So do you remember what I said the other night? Maybe you were here, maybe you weren't. I said, whatever we think about Barcelona and Real Madrid, at least their fans have the option of holding their presidents to account. Because those clubs are owned by socios. They're membership owned. They elect a president to run the clubs every few years. And if they don't perform and deliver trophies, the fans can vote them out at the next election. So there's an incentive there for Perez or Laporta to actually get stuff done. So whatever we think about the form of ownership that we have, at least Barca and Real Madrid fans can do something about it and vent their anger. Owen Dunn said, doesn't matter how good any manager we ever have under FSG, they'll limit their success with the lack of backing. Klopp could have won so much more. Again, I can only reiterate what I said through the entire time Klopp was at the club. My biggest fear was that we look back on Klopp's time and feel like we left trophies on the table. And that came to fruition because of the cheapness of these owners. They won't sell. They teased us with it last year and then go back on the sale. Even on that, actually, naughty bad. On that sale, only one journalist ever posted that, and that was David Ornstein. Said Liverpool owners FSG have put the club up for sale. We never heard of a bid. We never heard of a refusal. Nobody else ran with the story, and it seems to have just been forgotten about. Rabadan said, I'll worry this will affect Trent's future at the club. Well, it'll certainly probably get him another 20 or 50 grand a week on his new contract extension that now absolutely has to get done, and money can't be an object. Do you not remember under Hicks and Gillette, Craig? Of course I do, mate. Of course I do. I remember boycotting RBS under Hicks and Gillette. The club is a much better place. Have your moan at the end of the window. I'll have my moan whenever I want, Liam. With all due respect, mate. And yes, of course I remember Hicks and Gillette. But do you not remember Shankly, Fagan, Paisley and all the winning? Why are we only having the bar at the very lowest for the owners, mate? Why are we only holding them to account compared to the worst? Why can't we hold them to here? Because under these owners, we could have 4, 5, 6, 7 more trophies if they showed any ambition. So if your level of acceptance is Hicks and Gillette and Poulsen and Hodgson and Joe Cole, again, like I said to you earlier on, you're John W. Henry's wet dream. Even if we go for plan B now, we'll have to overpay. Yes, and we'll have to overpay in the next window and the next window whenever we go back in for a 6. But it'll be used as an excuse not to spend the money, and people like Limo there will be over the moon about it because he remembers boycotting Royal Bank of Scotland, but all of a sudden forgotten everything else that's happened under FSG, like them trying to sell us down the river and join the Super League without any correspondence or any talk with anyone. That's okay according to Liam apparently, because FSG do great stuff and we should just moan at the end of the window. That's it, Liam. We moan when there's no chance to do anything about it. Really clever thinking that, mate. Well done. Let's moan when there's no chance to correct it or fix it. That's really good stuff. Sam said, notice that Joyce didn't mention Endo as a 6 because he's been told he isn't good enough. He's been left out, told by Arne Slot to find another club, and that he hasn't really got a future at Liverpool. Nick said, what about going for Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart? Again, mate, just to reiterate, the word coming out from the journalists is no other options, no other number 6, no signing of that position in this window. None. So we can all sit here and debate some good alternatives. Like you said, Stiller, Ederson. But the line from the club is nobody. We can now sell Lucho and be 100 mil better off. That's another one, Dave, that I found very weird, mate, throughout this whole window, is why this insistence on always talking about selling Diaz when there hasn't been an offer. It's like they want him out the club for some reason. I've tried to ask journalists about this. Nobody's been able to really give me an answer that makes any sense. You know, it's like... It's the question, you're delivering an answer to a question that nobody's asked. By saying, oh, he's available. At the start of the summer, it was 75 million for Liverpool to even think about it. Go back and look through all these journalist tweets. 70 to 75 million or Liverpool aren't even going to come to the table. Then yesterday and today, on The Athletic from James Pearce, it was, it'll take an offer of at least 50 million for Liverpool to even consider selling Diaz. So it's 25 million down on it was 6 weeks ago when still nobody made an offer. Wonder if Arthur Melo has a buyback clause. He could be joining Everton. If Klopp was still here, would have happened? Don't know. Truly, mate, don't know. But Klopp was shafted by these same lads as well as owners. But again, the apologists were out making excuses for them then again. Callum O'Connor said 346 days without any signings is a disgrace to the club. It's a disgrace to the people. It's a disgrace to John Holding. This club is crumbling. Only club, mate, in about 6 of Europe's bigger leagues now. Only club that hasn't made a single signing. Hasn't signed up their captain and their vice captain to new deals. Done nothing other than sell a player and get some money from Solanke. Zeus, how are you, bro? Said, hey Craig, always good to catch a stream. Well, thank you for being with us. What happens if FSG do the same thing through the winter transfer window? You'll get they don't like operating in that window because there's no value for money angle. That's what usually happens. There's still time. The thing that really just frustrates me now is there's still time in this window to go in and bring in another number 6, and they've already downed tools and said they're not doing it. So how are we as fans supposed to buy into them having any ambition? Dennis, how are you? Said, popping in as a Bayern fan just to say my condolences for the shambolic state of your club transfer season. Best of luck in January. I mean, look, mate, I understand the banter. You know, I've no pushback. How can I? We are a laughing stock at the minute. Max said, I feel like this is a very public display of embarrassment for the club. Who do you think is next in line for the 6? Gravenberch. By the looks of it, mate. Gravenberch. Who's all of a sudden good enough, but wasn't last week. But we're all now going to be convinced that he is. Sugar Ray 29 said, I think FSG are interested in profit and not the club. Cheap signings if any. This season we might struggle sadly. Let's hope we beat Ipswich. Always just that little bit away, aren't we? Always 2-3 away. Always. Even this window, I would have settled for a 6 and a centre back. And I've said it all summer, I didn't really know and understand the big rush for a forward. I thought we had a bit more time to look at that. But now we're no number 6, just nothing. McLovin said, match-going fans need to grow a pair. Look, again, I wouldn't go tarring everyone with the same brush, but in order for us to ever get these clowns to actually, and by clowns I'm talking about the owners, actually do their job, we need a consensus. We need us as fans to hold them to account. Because remember, we weren't in the Champions League last season because of their refusal to bring in a centre-back or a midfielder. Season before, we barely made it in because of Alisson's header. And we make sticking plaster signings that are wasting 2 million loan fee for Arthur Mello on top of the wages. For what? For nothing. They might as well have signed me or you for 2 million quid. So they're supposed to be clever with money, but they threw away a few million quid. Million. Not thousands. Million. And we got zero benefit of it. But it was the cheap option. Alex Alvarado said, we're getting an Arthur type signing again, FSG out. Paul McGee said, they'll be telling us Darwin can play in goal next. Winky Wonky Donkey. Absolutely unbelievable, Jeff. Naughty word and brewery comes to mind. What's your favourite cereal? I mean, if it's a serious question, any type of granola, probably, mate. But yeah, piss up in a brewery. Absolutely. Jamie King said, we'll submit a 150 million quid bid for Haaland and say we tried. I know. And then Limo and the lads will be in to say, well, Craig, hardly FSG's fault. Do you know, they gave it the bit. They gave it the old college try. TOTT2KZ1 said, do you think they'll play Trent as a 6 now? Maybe look to buy a right back. No. Not that I'm aware of. So let's look at this poll that's had over 10,000 votes. FSG in, FSG out. 70% say FSG out. And 30% say FSG in. And I'd have to assume that some of those ins are from people who are opposition fans who just want this shambles to continue. Right, I'm going to go through the news now that I haven't had a chance to catch up on. Sorry, I'm just playing catch up on my notes here. So Lewis Steele's already contradicting his own words, now saying Liverpool have not completely ruled out signing a number 6 in this window, but it now seems unlikely given the time left in the window. There it is. There it is in all of its absolute glory. We just don't have enough time. But you had 8 weeks to get to this point of doing nothing. And we're supposed to forget that. The view of the club is that they have Ryan Gravenberch and Curtis Jones as potential partners for Alexis McAllister, while Dominic Szoboszlai and Trent Alexander-Arnold can also play there. They have Trey Neone, who's highly rated. Oh my God, these lads have no backbone. Chris Williams has said, has proper Gerrard to Chelsea vibes. This player balked in the final moment and didn't want to leave. However, looks a bit amateurish now. The player you've publicly gone all in for, giving you encouraging signs, says no thanks after all. Liverpool have needed a top class number 6 for a long time, so this is a bad look and smacks of poor planning, of no real plan B exists. So finally, a journalist in Chris Williams at least has the balls to say what everybody is thinking. Goes on to say, worst part in all of this is the possibility that Slot was planning for a 6 after being given good assurances one was on the way. Have to feel a bit sorry from the week before the season starts. And our captain yesterday was also wheeled out and said he trusted everybody at the club. He trusts the signings will be made. The club know what they need. And here we are 24 hours later. Ian Doyle has said impossible not to wonder what might have happened with Zubimendi had the lure of Klopp being with Liverpool still. That's not a slight on Klopp. Of course it is, you idiot. You're the one saying it. So you say it's hard to wonder what might have been if Jurgen was still here, and then go on to say that's not a slight at Slot. Of course it is. You've literally just said it. David Lynch has then said it's very unlikely Liverpool will sign an alternative to Zubimendi. I have a few more super chats to go back through now. I've already done that one. Sorry, let me bring up this one from the Facement Network. Said, that's what gets me. We're returning to the Champions League, and this is how they prepare in the transfer window. It's depressing. Alf has made another fair point. Said, God forbid Maka gets injured. Exactly. This is it. Like, everybody's into this world of best case scenarios where nobody picks up injuries. Some of these boys have had 3 weeks holidays after a really long campaign where we were already flagging and players were injured. Mohammed, you didn't put a comment in, my friend, but thank you for your support. Andrew Webb said, we'll stop watching Liverpool until the owners leave. FSG out. LFC_FY said, for a technical DM, De Jong is perfect. Diaz swap. The biggest problem there, mate, the biggest one, is that he's on €725,000 a week at Barcelona. You don't even have to take my word for it, just Google it. So that would be a non-starter. But I get where you're coming from, by the way. I would not disagree with you on the quality of the player. But yeah, there's no way that Johnny Boy is paying that money. How long until we're getting the Stefan Bajcetic is like a new signing post from the FSG shaggers? They're already out, mate. And the journalists that, again, are, I don't know why, but just towing the company line. So many of them. If the belief was in the club, like Paul Joyce said, that these players could do a job, then why on earth were we even in the market? It's a lie. It is not acceptable. You are not fooling anyone with this parroting of the club's PR nonsense. We've needed a 6 for 3 years. Not one of these journalists wrote about the fact that Liverpool didn't really need a 6. Not one of them. But they're expecting us to buy their stupidity and sit here, and suddenly there's this mad realisation an hour after Zubimendi turns us down that we didn't really need one after all. It's like an awakening. It's like a spiritual movement. We didn't need one, but it was right in front of our eyes and we didn't see it until we were embarrassed. And now all of a sudden it's, well, we better put something out there to defend the glorious owners in case I don't get, I don't know, a next go on the old John W. Henry hand shandy conga line. Is this what they all got into the business for? Did you get into journalism to just bow down to people and not have a backbone? I'm sure that's what you dreamt of in college. It's like, oh, I want to be an investigative journalist. I want to uncover the truth. I want to speak truth to power. And then as soon as you get in, haven't got a backbone. Who can Liverpool realistically sign that would make them come back from this makes look happy? Look, I'm sure everybody will have their own choices. Ederson would be mine. Others may say De Jong as an example, which I think is very unrealistic for a whole host of reasons. Others will say Wharton, Decore. But when the brief is that the club have accepted that, well, we have players at the club who can do the role now. So the one that we've tried for the 3rd year in a row and we've shit the bed on, all of a sudden now we'll trot out the old, well, we didn't really need him anyway. When Gordon rejects us, it'll be, we've got Gakpo and Nunez. Said Fimble FIFA. VVD is 100% sick of the owners, said Daniel Nelson. Daniel said, I can see why they don't want to get another number 6 now. Liverpool are desperate and will demand crazy fees. Do you think that that's going to change in the next window though, Daniel? Like, genuinely, mate. Whether Liverpool are desperate or not, everybody is going to know. And let me just pitch a hypothetical to you, Daniel. Let's say we have a poor start to the campaign and come the January transfer window we're like 6th or 7th and off the pace, and Liverpool then go knocking for a number 6 and one of these clubs. Do you think the price isn't going to go? So I get what you're saying, mate. It just isn't true. You might as well pay the extra few quid to get a player you want, to get somebody good enough. Because there's always going to be now, the whole world knows Liverpool need a number 6. They knew it last summer, they know it this summer, they'll know it next summer. And at no time has waiting helped. None. We've waited 3 years, still haven't got one. So the waiting game hasn't helped. We're all overreacting again. Let's assess when the window's closed. The days of the club getting any player they want are over. FSG have been good owners. Players have to want to come. Yeah, that's it, mate. It's all us. It's on us, Rob. We're just unrealistic. That's right, mate. That's right. Sure, when we finished 3rd last year to Arsenal, and Arsenal go out and sign a centre-back to improve their defence that was already the best defence in the league, we'll just wait till the window's over, because they're bound to fix it between now and the time the window closes, Rob. Because, you know, if we know one thing about these owners is that they do not accept second best. They only want to win, and they will leave no stone unturned. That's the owners that we know, Rob. So you're right, mate. We should all just be patient and wait for the window to close so we can get the promises of the next summer. I get you. I get where you're coming from. We're all just overreacting here. Silly old us. Liverpool keep getting rejected. Meanwhile, United are already signed 4 players. So you're telling me that Liverpool, who are in the Champions League, are a worse destination right now? Well, it'll either be because, look, in Zubimendi in isolation, as I said, from the human perspective, everybody will understand that maybe he wants to stay. But the no plan B option, or the putting all the cards on the table with no out, is the unacceptable part for most of us in this. And the idea of just waiting to see how the window ends truly maddens me, because it's not like we haven't seen this before and we haven't looked bad before. And when on any occasion has not signing a player ended up working out well for us? When not strengthening in any position we need to strengthen in, has it ended up us going on and actually overachieving? Never. Never happened. The Caicedo and Lavia mess are now this. How does this continue to happen? Let's not get into the Trent contract situation. Mike said the season starts in 4 days. Yep. But sure, let's just keep giving the benefit of the doubt, mate, you know? So, the amount of messages I have here from angry people on WhatsApp and stuff is nuts. Craig, chill, it's not the owner's fault if the player says no. So I get you're trying to bait me, Paul. I get it. I understand it. But it is. Because that's like me spending an entire summer chasing, I don't know, Elle Macpherson. And then saying, oh, well, you know, sorry, Daddy couldn't bring home a new mammy because Elle Macpherson said no. It is the owner's fault. It is absolutely their fault. Because they've let it happen 2 windows in a row. 3 rejections. Publicly. Embarrassingly. So don't try to bait me, mate. Because it ain't going to work. And I don't believe that you're stupid enough to actually believe what you're trying to say. So I'll move on from that. Cody Gaming and Football said, could you see Trent as a DM and a double pivot if we were to have a dead window? No. Because he's not a defensive-minded midfielder. So no. I said it consistently all the way through. I don't see Trent as a midfielder. I think he is a right-back and a very good right-back. And in pre-season, that for the little bit we've seen, that's where he's been utilised. Do I have contacts with Zubimendi? My contacts in Spain, 2 journalists and 1 person that works in the football industry, both had heard exactly the same as Paul Joyce and others have said, that he'd given his word to Liverpool that he was going to come. You know, that's been mentioned by many journalists tonight, that Liverpool, Hughes, everybody was given the word by Zubimendi that he was coming. Now, again, I'm going to say, from a human perspective, many of us can understand the player changing his mind and wanting to stay at his hometown club. But the lack of a plan B, again, is the really frustrating part for many of us. And the acceptance that there's no plan B is weird from people who will be the first ones on social media when Liverpool start losing a few games to start hounding out the manager who will have been thrown under the bus. I've said all summer, I don't want Arne Slot to be a scapegoat. I don't want Arne Slot to be thrown under the bus because the owners are cheap. I like Arne Slot. I believe in Arne Slot. I want him to be successful. Rajin said, had a good vibe going into the season. Now I'm deflated and frustrated. What a difference a couple of hours can make. Envy Power said, not even that surprised. Always bloody happens. So, I was getting ready to come on here tonight to announce a new show in Liverpool that we've agreed for November the 15th. We've booked it in to the Hot Water Comedy Club, November 15th. And that was my big night. That was my big announcement that I was so excited about, coming back and putting on a bigger show than the last time with people that are amazing and we love to bits. And just before the stream started, out came that news. And yeah, so that's why my frustration levels are ratcheting up a few more levels there this evening. Mike Johnson said, what you get with Edwards hires unqualified best mate. But like, he was involved in this deal as well. So Chris Chan said we don't have a CDM, mate. Chris, I agree with you, my friend, we don't. We won't sign anyone, never mind the number 6 and Nathan Walker. Jack said, congratulations, Craig, no matter what happens, you deserve this show. Thank you, mate. I'm genuinely really happy about the show and looking forward to it. We're going to bring music with us this time, obviously a comedian as well, and we're going to put on an even bigger show than the last time, and I was so excited about it. I was so optimistic for the season ahead, and now I just feel just numb, probably, like many other people. Angry, numb, frustrated. Can't blame Trent if he doesn't sign a new deal. No ambition shown, said Nikhil Singh. It's certainly, at the very least, mate, gonna mean that Trent's gonna get paid more money by the club. Which again is just bad business. From your understanding, how much would Ederson cost us? Was the reason we didn't go for him because of his lack of aerial prowess? I don't know the reason we didn't go for him. My understanding on the price is 40 to 45 million pound. This one from Rob, who's actually literally, the irony of this, Rob, is hilarious. Get a life, dude. You're the one paying to talk to me, and you're telling me to get a life, Rob. Like, the club is in rude health financially. A relatively unknown player decides not to come and we imploded. And I'm the one to get a life. The relatively unknown players just won the European Championships, mate. Came on and within 2 minutes they'd scored the winner. You're paying to talk to me and you're telling me to get a life. Do you not see the irony of that? I'm sound, right? I'll sit here and listen to you throw money at me all day. But the one who needs to actually get a grip here is you. Because I don't give a shit if the club is in healthy financial position. I want to win. And there's no awards for being the best boys in the financial class. Are you going to get a little bit of the money when John W. Henry sells the club for 5 billion quid after buying it for 300 million? Will there be an award given out there, Rob, to the LOL group like yourself? So rather than tell me to get a life, bro, again, you're the sado paying money to try and insult somebody, and I'm embarrassing. Yeah. That's that. Definitely how that works, Rob. Definitely. Never seen the club fail as many times at transfers as us, said 7DVZE. Sean said, best look after yourself, mate. Take it easy tonight, recalculate, wake up with a clear head. I think I've been quite balanced tonight, mate. I don't think I've gone in on anybody. I haven't sworn at anyone. I've sworn at the owners a little bit now, to be fair, but I don't need to take a break, bro. I'm good. I'm just I'm just angry, quite simply, mate. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through some more comments. 1 sec. Apologies. 1 second. The detective said, so Endo is supposedly... No, I want to get this up on screen, mate. Sorry. The detective said, so Endo is supposedly not good enough, and now there's no backup again for new number 6. We were told Slot was assessing the squad as an excuse for not getting players earlier. We need a centre-back as well. So, the assessment of the squad was that we needed a number 6, right? So we went out to try get one. We failed, and now the reassessment of the squad is, sure, we'll be grand, because Gravenberch is here. Yeah, I don't know. The Zooby-Doo thing is so funny. It wasn't even my idea, Alex. I mean, look, I did it and I sang it and I've no regrets over it, but I'm almost sure it was a comment from somebody in the chat. And look, I had fun with it. You know, look, anything I do like that, singing or... look, if I give it, I take it. I've no problem with anything like that, mate. You're not going to insult me by saying it was funny. It's what I do when I'm in a happy mood, when I'm, you know, upbeat. Jason, let me get your comment up. Said, just chucked on the stream, bloody spewing at the news. So you know what the funny thing is? If people think this is me being angry, God almighty, you should look back at other videos where the owners have let us down on transfers and I've been many, 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 many times worse. He's in San Sebastian, mate. Looking at the mountains. Squeaky Clean said, why are we sell to buy if we're in such a good state? You're not allowed to use logic, mate. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to have ambition or use logic when you're dealing with the FSG apologists. You're not allowed. Because only what the club says matters. It doesn't matter. Common sense, rationale, ambition, doesn't matter. Because we're in good health financially because we've got an extra bottle of Lucozade. No matter what, we're Liverpool, good times ahead. I mean, yes and no. When the season starts, as always, mate, you'll get behind the manager, you'll get behind the players. We'll want them to do well. But when the inevitable fall off happens and we're short again, and people are on Twitter crying about going 1-0 down and losing their minds about results and talking about defenders and midfielders. You know, these would be the same hypocrites that were on here saying it's okay, we didn't need to bring someone in. What am I to do with my Zubimendi away jersey? I don't know. Why would you buy the jersey before you knew what number he was? Like, at the very least, if you thought he was signing, why would you buy a jersey that you don't know the number the guy's going to wear, even if you believed he was definitely coming in? Angus Court, let me get your comment up, my friend, said, Slot's been hung out to dry, FSG out. Leon, I mean, that's a good word. It's the word probably describes how I feel as well, mate. Yeah, I mean, deflated is probably the... You know, you work through all the emotions, don't you? Frustration, anger, all of it. Craig Adams said, must be some sexy mountains. FSG out. Paul McGee said, is the number 6 shirt now going into museum? Yeah, they're going to put it in Ripley's, believe it or not. Believe it or not, some Liverpool fans actually bought the 3 years of not being able to sign the number 6 and somehow justified it in their own minds. Believe it or not. Cucullin's Hounds. Would you mind setting the old Hounds on John, mate, to maybe try and find his wallet? Could you give them a sniff of a $20 note and see if they can help old Uncle John find the money? Because, you know... Do you know what this is? I've got it. I figured it out. Do you remember Amber Heard in the Johnny Depp trial said that she pledged the money. Now, she hadn't given the money, but she pledged it, and that's the same thing. So John has pledged the money to sign the number 6. He hasn't given the money, but he's pledged it. Same thing, right? Rusba said there was so much optimism around Hughes, but his first action was a failure. Hughes needs to prove himself now, and rather than just looking pretty. Again, I don't want to be going in on Richard Hughes either. I don't want to be... I've every belief that Richard Hughes was told exactly what we all believe, that the player wanted to come. What do I do to relax? Smoke weed, pretty much. Even then, I'm not a very... relaxing isn't really built into my DNA, mate. It's I'm pretty on edge person most of the time in general. So yeah, don't get to relax much. And look, that genuinely, that's just, I think, the way I'm built as a person, unfortunately. Ian Cahill said, where do we go from here? We get him in the winter transfer window when the FSG out banner is outside Anfield. I don't know what happens, mate, but here we are. 2 months into a transfer window with 2.5 weeks left to go, and we haven't signed a single player. The promise of the big August, the big build-up, the busy 10 days, the get 3 signings done, and all we've done is add to John's bank account by selling Fabio Carvalho, getting 8 million quid from Dominic Solanke. That's the fact of the matter at the moment. Like, that's not up for debate. We haven't signed anyone. One of the only clubs in the top 5 or 6 leagues in Europe to have done zero business with incomings. Finished 3rd last year and fell away, and now all of a sudden, having weakened the squad again, we're supposed to believe we're going to have better times ahead. When you've got a forward in Mohamed Salah who could sign a contract in January to leave next summer and might have a second half of the season where he doesn't want to put his body on the line because it might destroy a big move. That has to be seen as a potential. Virgil van Dijk, the club haven't even started talking to him yet. That's his words about a new deal, and he's the captain. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, the homegrown vice-captain, was allowed go into the last year of his contract, and now you've shown him that the new regime can't even bring in the number 6. So the best case scenario there is Trent signs on again, but we overpay him. Bulgars Taste Salty said, scenes in February when Gomez and Elliott are playing the pivot due to injuries from our guys being run into the ground. Yeah, and again, this trainee only stuff's doing my head in as well. Because, like I said about Stefan Bajcetic, I don't want these guys scapegoated. I don't want trainee only or Stefan Bajcetic thrown into a situation that they aren't ideally ready for because of, obviously, trainee only having to fill out, go into his man body, get some extra strength. And we were already told that he wasn't really going to be involved in first team action this season. Now he's been spoken about by some journalists as a solution. We were ready to loan out by Bajcetic 2 days ago. And now these young lads that don't have enough experience or the physicality, nor should they, at this point, could be somehow the answer. So, Tchouaméni, failure. Caicedo, failure. Lavia, failure and embarrassment. Because all summer we weren't willing to pay 50 million for Lavia, and then we were willing to pay more than 50 million, and we still didn't get him. And now, Zubimendi. Cucullin Towns, again, thank you for the super chat, mate. You didn't put a comment in, but I appreciate your support. So Stevie Boy said, did the player say yes to coming to Liverpool? Why wasn't the release clause activated? This is all to do with money. The player, that's the one thing that doesn't seem to be, what's the word phrase I'm looking for? Nobody seems to be challenging that the player gave Liverpool the nod. Even the journalists that are trying to PR this for the owners are saying that Hughes was given the word by the player. That's the information I had. That's the information many journalists had. So the question about why did you not trigger the release clause when the player had given the positive vibes, it's a fair question. I don't know whether the answer was the money wasn't there to do it in one lump sum, or they felt like they could get better terms. I don't know the honest answer to that, but what we do know is it didn't work out, and now it looks really bad. Your networking said yesterday something wasn't right with this. Also, did Klopp see all of this coming and that's why he left? As you said about VVD and Trent too, something is amiss at this club and it's a joke. Something is definitely amiss, mate. You're right. Look, I don't know how, no matter what the owners do, some people say, yeah, but they did this, or yeah, but they did that. Like, it truly baffles me that there's always a reason. I heard a good phrase last night that I'm trying to think of now. I can't think of it. It was something along the lines of, excuses aren't good enough until I need to use them. Or excuses aren't acceptable until I need to use them. And that's kind of where we're at with these owners. Like, some of our fans just refuse to hold them to account because we're doing okay. Gareth Brennan said, under FSG, Liverpool just exist. Where's the money, John? Well, in this case, we're making a profit in the window. So all the people who said the club's in a good financial place, they're going to be delighted because we're up about 47, 48 million quid for this window so far. So they'll be delighted. I'm sure John W. Henry's inbox is going to be full from people congratulating him, Liverpool fans around the world on you know, another great summer, another great masterclass in manipulation and lies. Mugged off by the owners. At least we have you. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. And again, I'm angry on behalf of the gaffer as well. Because ultimately, this is going to reflect on him if we don't do enough. If we finish 5th or 6th, everybody's going to say Slot wasn't good enough. It won't be because he wasn't given the personnel to go deep enough into the competitions. It will be just his fault. And that disgusts me. Unfortunately, FSG will probably set the prices on the club high enough for nations, public fund and or member of some royal family, i.e. the Magpies. MJP Production said, an FSG production, John Henry, the lost wallet. But you're going to get a barrage now over the next few months of being told how brilliant they are and how clever they are, and the commercial partners we've brought in and the great deals they've done. And we'll be on Forbes lists for being one of the most valuable clubs in the world. We'll be told about the amazing amount of money brought in through television revenue, commercial partnerships, shirt sales. But then we won't have a pot to piss in when it comes time to spending that money. Should I just call FSG's assist number and ask for a number 6? It probably doesn't have that option. It probably goes 1 to 5 and then just goes 7 to 9. Seconds. Ooh. So 7-inch Destroyer said, I feel sorry for Slot. Great coach. Do better. FSG. Lewis Brazier said, thanks for being a sounding board for us to vent. All good, bro. All good. I'm going to get my chance to vent in a few minutes when I record a video giving my thoughts on tonight. So look, I'm going to go for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. There'll be a video coming out in the next 20 minutes giving you my thoughts on where we're at with this summer's transfer window and this situation. If you can, please do drop a like and hit that subscribe button before you head off. But again, another window, more frustration, more anger, and one root cause of it. And they're over in Boston. Talk to you guys soon.